All right, let's get into it. Today is December 11th, 2024. Um, Markets today rose. Indexes, tech heavy indexes rose. They did a lot of gains today. The main reason being the CPI data that came out earlier in the morning today at 8:30. As expected, it was positive for markets. The CPI, the Consumer Price Index, measured at 2.6%, no, 2.7% year over year, above, I believe the estimates were 2.6. So that means inflation is pretty sticky at the moment. It's staying and it doesn't want to go. So that's good news for the market because that means that the Federal Reserve, I believe it's next week, most likely will do another rate cut, which the market see as a good thing. Um, and I'm controversial in that. For us, I don't believe it is a good thing. Um, less, I feel like it's less money for us, but for the markets and for companies, it's a good thing. Bank to bank, the interest rates that they borrow against each other lowers, so I guess companies make more money. But for people like us, I don't believe it's a good thing. And it's also a sign showing that the economy is unstable. So if the Federal Reserve has to make a cut, interest rate cut, they're showing that they have to do something because the economy is getting uncontrollable and it's not where they want it to be. So it's also a sign of fear within the U.S. economy, somewhat. But companies love it, and the tech market today has taken off. Let's take a look um, at today. Um, Tesla shot up enormously. This is the this is the child, the love child, if you will, of Elon Musk right now and Trump. Before the election, Tesla wasn't doing as hot. Their last revenue that came out, the earnings report, was somewhat positive in their energy sector. So their company did shoot up for a little bit, and then it started to pull back as the election got closer. And then Trump won, and ever since Tesla has been taking off. No pullbacks, well, slight pullbacks, but no big pullbacks. I don't think we'll ever see 200 with Tesla again unless there's a stock split. Um, because it's double. I passed the 200s already. Um, and it's just been gaining. Right now it's at 429.61. I do believe yesterday the closing price was 400. So it gained 30 points intraday. Remarkable strength. And one of the main reasons I believe, because there wasn't anything um, that new besides they're getting their sales up in China. They're getting a bigger chunk of the Chinese consumer for their vehicle sales. Um, but the main thing has to do with Trump. Trump was named Times Person of the Year, and tomorrow, December 12th, he is going to open the bell at the New York Stock Exchange at 9:30. So again, anything Trump related, Tesla takes off. Anything Trump related, Tesla takes off. So Tesla's doing enormously well right now, and I do believe that's why there was such a high amount of buyers in the after hours market. Because that news came out like maybe an hour and a half after markets closed, so like 5:30 around that time. So expect Tesla to jump more even more tomorrow. But keep in mind, on the monthly, the RSI is getting high. It's at 79.36. On the stock oscillator, it's at 90.47. The last time it was at these levels, it did a decent pull. It did a pullback. The last one was, let's see if I can find it, July 9th. and it was at 86. That can't hold. Let me find another one here. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, and on July 9th, it was at 266. The RSI was at 88.58. May have been higher, but it ended up dropping down back into the 30s, and the price dropped back down to 191. So that's about a 70-point decrease after the RSI blew off to its to a really high level. Another one prior to that was 93. That was June 15th of last year, and it went 270, and it dropped down to 240, and then it continued to rise, continued to gain some after that drop, and it went up to 293. The one prior, when it reached 82, it was at, this was recent, November 12th. It was at 350. Oh, that's the first time it went at 350, and then it dropped down to almost 300 overnight pre-market. Then it shot right back up afterwards, and it continued its growth trajectory higher. But as you can see, it's nearing that value, that key value there. It's at 78, 78 and a half. So if it gets to the 80s, low 80s, keep an eye out. It could be due for potential pullback. I'm not going to say it's going to go down to 200 because I doubt that. And I don't think it's going to get down to the low to mid 300s. But it'll probably pull back to 400, maybe 380, 390, and then it'll continue its trajectory upwards. Donald Trump's not even in office yet, and Tesla's taking off. So just imagine what's going to happen when Donald Trump actually does get into office. This company is going to have so many opportunities, so many things open, so many doors being open for it to continue its growth and to put out its ideas that it wants to put out for the world. So Tesla, the love child of Elon Musk and Donald Trump. As weird as that sounds, that's the only way I can describe it. Nvidia dropped today, right? Yeah, it did drop slightly. It went down. It reached a low of 135, and then took off after that. Exactly like I expected. Broadcom's earnings are coming out tomorrow, so what usually happens is, for some reason with these semiconductor chips companies, they take off the couple days beforehand, and then the day of the earnings, for some reason, they always drop. I don't understand that. Usually it's the opposite. Before data comes out, the markets, they don't know if it's going to be good or not, so people wait on the sidelines until the news comes out, and then the company, the shares soar the day after. The day after hours until the day after. But for some reason, it's opposite with this. The last time Broadcom had their earnings report, the same thing happened. It took off slightly, but then it started dropping. So yeah, you have that for consideration. But yeah, that's what happened with Nvidia. It dropped down. It opened at 137, went down to 135, then it closed at 139 basically, and overnight it's at 139.71. So any news with Nvidia? Not that I can remember, think of. Nothing today. Mostly just what carried the whole market today was CPI data and the impression that there's most likely going to be a Federal Reserve rate cut next week. So that's why all markets took off today. All companies took off today. Like their stocks took off. Their shares started rising. But there was nothing new with Nvidia today. Broadcom, their earnings go out tomorrow. What happened with Broadcom? The same trajectory as Nvidia. They decreased and then they increased. So they opened at 180. The previous close was 170, so it gained 10 points overnight. So they opened at 180, dropped down to 176.95, and then they shot up to 182. No, 184 was the highest, around 320, 321, 184.80, and was 185, or it did hit 185, I'm sorry. But then it closed at I can see 183.20, and they're currently at 182.91. So keep in mind, if it's anything to the last earnings report, they most likely will drop after earnings, but up until closing, they will increase and they will gain some extra. If it's anything like last earnings, no one's to say, but of course they're expected to beat revenue and earnings. Their guidance is always expected to be excellent. Everybody needs a AI chip for their whatever it is that they're making, right? Amazon, everything tech related increased today and continue to increase today. Bitcoin shot up. MicroStrategy, the biggest Bitcoin holder, shot up. I believe their highest at one point was 413. Taiwan Semiconductor, same old story. They shot up as well. Let's see. Well, they didn't shoot up, but they did good. So TSM reported a dividend of 65.615593 per share on Thursday, December 12th. Interesting. So your dividends will come out if you have shares of TSM on December 12th. Their next earnings is for January 16th through January 20th. Between there. SMCI dropped dramatically. They have some controversy. They had some controversy. The previous close was at $40.54. Their lowest today was at like 36 or 35.96 at one point, and they shot back up and it closed at 38.29. They are currently at $38 overnight. They they're tethering. They're on the brink of being delisted from the Nasdaq's top 100. Not from the Nasdaq itself, but from the Nasdaq's top 100. Um, they're they could possibly be left off of that because they've lost so much of their market cap that they're not among the big movers anymore. And that deadline for the top 100 was on November 29th. And on November 29th, I go back to a month. November 29th, they were at 32 a share. So they didn't really. They have been growing since, but that was like almost a little less than double their all-time low from recent all-time low. So I don't think they made the cut. We'll see. That's the reason why their shares have dropped. That's the reason why they didn't continue dropping more was because Nvidia, Broadcom saved Nvidia, and Nvidia saved SMCI, and Tesla as well saved SMCI. Because as you can tell, as I said in my last video, SMCI is partnered with Tesla, with Elon Musk's new XAI company, and of course their company they're partnered up with Nvidia. They share products, and they use Nvidia's chips for a lot of their products. Nvidia also, their chip makers TSM, just putting that information out there for any investors that want to know. I'm trying to keep these videos short, so I'm trying to rush as much as I can because I know the shorter the video, the easier it is for people to want to listen to, and and get all the information that I have to put out there. But that's the reason why they dropped. Now there was a positive article in their favor earlier today. It was from the Nasdaq, and it said 5 reasons why SMCI stock should gain in 2025. Time to buy. and this is from NASDAQ.com. What bothered the SMCI stock? Let me drink a little bit of water. Is basically phrased in this article is everything I said in my last video, but we'll recap. The Super Microcomputer Inc. SMCI stock has been on a topsy-turvy ride in recent months amid financial reporting issues. From one of the most sought-after artificial intelligence plays, the stock has become a risky investment. Let's keep going down. What bothered the SMCI stock? This year, Supermicro has endured a flurry of unpromising news, resulting in many gyrations in its stock price. Supermicro's troubles began in August when a short seller report suspected the company of accounting irregularities. Supermicro then delayed filing in its annual 10-K report, and in September, the DOJ began investigating its financials. Supermicro also faced the threat of being delisted from the Nasdaq Stock Exchange, which would compel its shares to trade over the counter, upsetting trading volume. Simultaneously, disagreement with auditor Ernst & Young over accounting practices led to its resignation, and Supermicro stock plummeted to an intraday low of $17.25 on November 15th. However, its shares have recovered, now trading about $40 and poised for further growth next year. SMCI stock set to rise in 2025 for five key reasons. Nasdaq gave Supermicro a deadline of February 25th, an extension to file its necessary financial reports, an exception to the Tech Latin Index's regulations. Tech Latin Index. If you want to find an ETF that closely monitors the Nasdaq, I will look for those in my next video. So this way you don't have to choose one stock. You can just put your money in that ETF and then just let your money sit there instead of letting your money sit in a savings account. But anyway, encouragingly, Charles Liang, Supermicro CEO, recently confirmed that the company is well positioned to submit the compliance plan, avoid delisting from Nasdaq, and restore investors' faith. This was from his recent interview. He was part of a conference, Reuters Next, yesterday on December 10th, and that's when he said this, that, he's confident that SMCI wouldn't have any issues giving Nasdaq their financial listings by the deadline, and that he is very confident that SMCI won't be delisted from the Nasdaq. From the CEO's mouth himself, Ernst & Young questioned Supermicro's governance, internal controls, and its impact on financial reporting. Thus, Supermicro formed a special committee to investigate the matter. However, the special committee confirmed management integrity and found no evidence of fraud, a boon for the SMCI stock. Supermicro, by the way, has appointed a new independent auditor, BDO. It is one of the leading accounting firms with a strong reputation. This means Supermicro is now in a position to timely file its annual and quarterly reports. BDO believes that Supermicro's financials are untroublesome and management has the means to restore investors' confidence. Supermicro has a scalable business thanks to its tie-up with semiconductor behemoth NVIDIA Corporation. After all, Supermicro's AI servers are much needed to mount AI chips. Moreover, Supermicro's shares in the AI server market is only 10%, indicating potential for business expansion. Once these controversies are gone and they can prove that they are a strong company and that their finances and their directors, all that stuff is good, then other companies will begin to reach out and will continue to want to do work with SMCI. The one thing I do find weird is that they haven't gotten a new CFO, Chief Financial Officer, which that would, if they did that, that would help out, that would relieve the worry of a lot of their investors. So I don't understand why they're delaying that process so much, but they should, once they get rid of the current CFO, which is what their independent auditor suggested, and they get a new CFO, a lot of other companies will come in and continue to want to do work with SMCI. So this is a potential high risk, high reward company. and it's in the AI play, and it's very cheap. I'm not giving financial advice. I'm not telling people to go out and buy the stock, the share of the stock. I would never do that. I'm just saying you might want to look into it along with other companies as well. Do your due diligence. So keep keeping with the reading. Meanwhile, Supermicro's return on equity (ROE) of 34% exceeds the computer storage devices industry average of 20.3%, indicative of strong profitability, as an ROE above 20% is typically considered robust. Recommend buying SMCI stock now, as Supermicro's chances of getting delisted from NASDAQ ebb and its management veracity are restored. It makes all the more sense to buy the SMCI stock now for growth in 2025. This is from the NASDAQ article, not from me. Lest we forget, Supermicro's strong position in the AI server market should also help its shares climb northward. 2025 to 2026 and upward is going to be a strong tech, one of the most important years for anything tech related. So there's going to be a lot of growth for SMCI coming up, along with all the other tech players. Keep that in mind. Brokers also assume the SMCI stock to rise significantly, raising the average short-term price target to $50.06 from the last closing price of $44.16. Moreover, and setting the highest target at 100. Moreover, the SMCI stock is affordable compared to the others in the industry. This is because, per the price per earnings ratio, SMCI trades at a 12.2x forward earnings. In comparison, the industry's forward earnings multiple is 16.7. Zacks naming top 10 oh, that's something else. So pretty much that's basically a recap of everything that I read. I put in my last video for you guys yesterday. So that's with SMCI. But yeah, so they dropped today because there's a fear of them being delisted from the NASDAQ 100. Not from the NASDAQ exchange, but from the NASDAQ top 100 gainers. So if that doesn't happen, if they don't get delisted, which people are suggesting Palantir is what's going to take its place. They say MicroStrategy, but I don't. MicroStrategy is too Bitcoin reliant, extremely volatile. So I don't think MicroStrategy will be there. But Palantir is also volatile, but it's not cryptocurrency dependent. It's more government defense spending dependent. So we'll see. We'll keep our eyes out. And to give you guys an idea, the last company that was delisted from the NASDAQ 100 was Walgreens, a retail company. So SMCI is a AI data company. Two completely different animals. The only reason why it's a possibility is because in November 29th, it was only at $30 a share. So it had lost a lot of its gains. If they went back and looked at it now or even yesterday, there's a good chance it would still stay there. But if that does happen, expect SMCI to do a slight pullback, which will create a huge buying opportunity for a lot of investors that do believe and do want to take the high risk, high reward chance on the stock. But that's the reason why that company, the shares of that company dropped today. And the only thing I saved today was Nvidia and Broadcom. What else? MicroStrategy and Bitcoin. Bitcoin took off tremendously today. I'm pretty sure I already said that earlier in the video. I'm sorry about that. But MicroStrategy, follows Bitcoin, so MicroStrategy also went up a lot. And Amazon gained a lot again today. Went from 225, went up to 230. I'm going to be a long-term investor in Amazon. So that is something that I'm personally going to invest in. Long-term hold. So if anybody else wants to do it, that's what I'm going to do. Apple stayed pretty consistent. Not much gains. It went, its highest was at 1130 at 250, and then it dropped down to 246, and it's been staying there since. Aftermarket, it actually went up to 248, and then it would just drop back down to 246. Why? Let's take a look at the RSI. Okay, maybe that's why. The RSI hit an all-time high of 79, and the last time they hit that, let's see here, yep, did a pullback. It's like here. Yep, did another pullback from 216 down to 206, from 234 down to 224. So I did a pullback because of the RSI levels. Let's see anything in the news. Apple sets fresh intraday high on AI updates, reported chip collab. They misspelled collab, COLALB. It's supposed to be COLLAB, collab. Apple hit a record intraday high on Wednesday after announcing new artificial intelligence AI features amid a reported chip partnership with Broadcom. Broadcom earnings come out tomorrow, December 12th. Good company. Nancy Pelosi knows what she's doing. I'm telling you. According to reports from the information, Intelligent Alpha founder and CEO Doug Clinton joins asking for a trend host Josh Lipton to take a closer look at what sent Apple stock higher and where the iPhone maker stands in the AI era. So Apple took off today as well. I'm going to assume they dropped because of the RSI and possibly because Broadcom started off low and then they took off afterwards. I'm not sure. But that's the main headlines for today. It was the CPI data. That's what gave investors the confidence that there's going to be another federal interest rate cut, 0.25 basis points, 25 BPS. And so today was a positive day. Tomorrow's going to be interesting. I'm going to do the video thing as the earnings report comes out, and we'll see what happens tomorrow and what happens to the Broadcom stock. I'm trying to find ways to make these videos shorter. Maybe I can just do everything individually. Maybe that'll make them shorter so you guys can just see what it is that you want to see. I wasn't honestly going to do another video today until I looked back at my previous video that I posted and I got 5 views. So at least there's some people out there in the world that are listening to what I'm saying. So at least I'm not wasting my time and talking to a wall. I'm talking to a computer like a weirdo. So at least I'm doing something. At least some people are taking in the information that I'm also giving out. All right, I'll be back for tomorrow. See ya.